We know he was a great orator. We know he was a preacher. We know of that speech he made, I Have a Dream, where it is being recorded in so many different languages. It is being recited by persons all over the world, different ages and sexes and race. It is sometimes used as a reminder of what he stood for. And at times it is used to remind us that we perhaps supposed to turn another cheek, because Martin spoke about peace. It is recited by his friends and foe. But today I want us to ask ourselves, how did Martin do it? So let's go. Hello, my name is Paula Simon, a believer who 25 plus years ago made a decision that changed my life, that strengthened my faith, and led to a closer walk with God. This is a platform that encourages women to be more proactive in their life and embrace changes one step at a time. If you're visiting for the first time, welcome. If you're a returning visitor or a subscriber, welcome also. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on your notification button, so as a new video comes out, you will know about it. Today is a special day in our history. Today we're celebrating Martin Luther King, Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King's 90th birthday. I don't know if he was alive today, taking into consideration the scheme of things we're in, the state of the country, what he would have felt. Would he feel good about the sacrifice he made, even if it's not with his life, but the sacrifice he made by leaving his wife and his children to go on the road to preach and to push this civil rights movement things, where he was getting pushback from people from other race and even within his own race? Would he think that his time was wasted? That I don't know. But what I know for certain, it took extreme courage for him to do what he did. That he don't need to say it. The history books tells us that. But today, one of the things that have me thinking about, what did Martin do when it seems like all hopes are gone? Because as a human being, even as believers, in our frailty, in not being God, we would feel weak at times. And that is the time when we have to push forward. With the threat on his life, let's look at it this way. Martin Luther King born in a time where the mere fact that he was alive, he was on the threat. There were always something setting for his back because he was a black man. And then as he grew and be a black man that decided to be part of a movement, asking for equal rights, a time when black people weren't supposed to have any rights. That make it a double bullet to his back. So with under all of that dread, with all the scared for his life and his family and his friends, how did he move? How did he talk to himself when he feel like giving up? Because he had to. The mere fact how I know he had to feel like giving up at time, because he is a human being. He was a human being with a difference that who followed what God told him to do. He was a human being with a difference that fight against all odd and fear and doubt and do it. But I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that at times he was scared. I'm certain that at times the fear took him to his knees, literally, make him feel physically sick because he was on the threat. I am certain that at times he was thinking, but he can't even trust the person who looked like him that was standing next to him. So he had to be under constant fear. But yet still, guys, he got up and do it. As I look back, and as I'm standing here, each one of us have a fear. It might be a fear of not being accepted. It might be a fear of losing a job. It might be a fear if I do what God is telling me to do, it might end a relationship. It might bring discourse in a family. So we all have fear. But let's look at our fear as against the fear that Martin Luther King had to have. I don't need anyone to show me it in a book. I don't need to hear a recording of Martin Luther King's voice. I don't need to hear anyone who walked with him to tell me how he was afraid. I know beyond a shadow of a doubt he was scared. He had to be at times. But he got up and he did what his father told him to do. Despite everything. Despite the concern about his wife and his children. Despite the concern of everyone around him. And I'm certain they had a whole lot of people telling him he should shut up. Far and near was telling him what you doing was wrong. Why you just don't give up. Why you don't go back to this. He was a pastor of a very famous church. He could have gone back to the church. He could have gone and speaking tours. But he stuck. But he kept what God told him to do. And as we listen today, it's a great celebration, and there might be snippets of his speech, I Have a Dream speech, or it might be the entire speech, taking into consideration this week what it stands for. We had a very, very hard year in 2020, and it came right into 2021. If we look at the environment around us, not the world, let's look at where we are right now. It could be scary. But if we take what Martin Luther King stand for and what he sacrificed his life for, and we look that he had to do it with a certain amount of courage despite everything, we could face whatever we faced without being concerned that God tell me to move or God tell me to do this, and I'm concerned about what his friend is going to say, what his son is going to say, what his father is going to say, what my mother is going to say, what my husband is going to say, who would be offended, be it a friend or a family. I have to give up my home. I'm going somewhere where I don't know people. And all these other little things, all our own bullets. Let's compare it with what Martin Luther King was facing. He knew for certain he could have died anytime. And somewhere in him, he was prepared to die for what he believed in. Our situation might not be a bullet. It might be a bullet in a different form. It might be the death of a relationship or a death of a friendship or death of the way we know things as it was. In fact, really and truly, whether we want it or not, there is a death, there are deaths around us. In the literal sense of people dying and in this way of which we will conduct business, how we would work, how we would socialize, everything, things has changed. So in keeping with our celebration and our acceptance and excitement, and even for some, it's a day off of Martin Luther King's birthday, let us think about the courage. Let us think about the thing that I don't think we think much about. How did he get up every day and do what God told him to do when he knew every moment could have been his last? And finally it was. At a very young age, he died. Why? Because he didn't shut up. Because he followed what God told him to do. So guys, this is a special week. It's special in so many ways. We have so much hopes and dreams for changes because of this week and what's about to happen. So let us continue be praying. When we cannot be on our knees, let us be praying in our hearts. Let us continue being on our knees in our hearts, praying for a change and knowing that in the midst of everything, God is turning it around. And for his believers and the ones that who trust him, he is working it in our favor. I don't know how. And I think no one does. Because God, he might give us a little glimpse, but he don't give us no plan and tell us X, Y, and Z. No, he don't operate like that. All he asks us to do is to trust him. So just continue trusting God. And happy MLK Day to every one of you. And let's take just a little tiny bit of the courage that Martin had and apply it in our lives. Guys, have a blessed week and see you next week. Bye.